This is the CP Geometry Unit 9 Study Guide. For number 1, it says the angles of a triangle have a ratio of 3 to 6 to 7. All you're going to do here is put an x with each one of those numbers. 3x, 6x, 7x. Add them all together, equals 180. The 180 comes from a triangle. We all know that the total measurement inside of any triangle is 180 degrees. You add those all together, 16x equals 180. Divide by 16, your answer is 11.25, but you're not done. You got to take that answer, plug it back into each of the three components, 3x, 6x, 7x, multiply those all out. Your actual measurements then are 33.75, 67.5, and 78.75 respectively, and they will all add up to 180 degrees. For number 2, 3 and 4, you're just going to use cross products, just cross multiply. So you set it up as such, you use your distributive property on both sides, 5 times x minus 5 times 1, 6x plus 6 over here. You subtract the 5x to the right, subtract the 6 to the left, gives you negative 11 as your answer. You are allowed to have negative answers with these. Number 3, same thing, just use cross products. 5 times x minus 6, 3 times x plus 2. You get 5x minus 30 and 3x plus 6. I took the 3x to the left by subtraction, take the 30 to the right by addition. 2x equals 36 means that when you divide by 2, you get 18. For number 4, cross products here once again, but the catch is, notice you're going to multiply an x times something that already has an x. So that means you have an x squared, and we all know what x squareds mean. You're going to have to end up having a factoring problem. So I took everything to the to the right-hand side. So after you get 6x plus 12 and x squared plus 5x, subtract the 6x, gives you negative 1x. Subtract the 12, gives you negative 12. When you then factor that out, x squared becomes x times x. 12 to get a 1 means you're going to use negative 4 and positive 3. However, don't forget when you do solve each of one of those components, you get a positive 4 and a negative 3. And again, both answers are viable, they're usable, and you are allowed to have negatives. For number 5, it says determine if the pair of figures is similar. So what you need to first of all think about doing is turning one of these around so it matches the other. 20 should match up with 10, 10 should match up with 5, and both 9s match up with both 6s. All you're going to do is set those fractions up. 20 over 10 reduces to 2 over 1. 10 over 5, also 2 over 1, little smiley faces there. 9 over 6, however, sad face, is 3 over 2. Therefore, since that one thing falls apart, the whole thing falls apart. You do not have similar figures. For number 6, again, matching the figures up correctly, the 8 should match up with the 5. That's your scale factor, 8 to 5. That is your scale factor. So you're going to use that scale factor and set up the other fraction, x over 21. Cross multiply, 5x equals 168, so x is 33.6. Moving on to number 7, little trickier here. Scale factor, 9 over 18 is 1/2. That's your scale factor. So that's what I did down here. I set it up to equal 9 over 18, but then I also, to make it simpler with your multiplication, just change that to 1/2. Makes the cross multiplying a heck of a lot easier. 7 times 2, 14. This corner to this corner, just multiply by 1, doesn't change anything, still x plus 3. All you have to do is subtract 3, you get 11. Moving on to page 2 of the study guide. What I did here with this one, I know several of you are expressing concern about this type of question. Why not take the time to rip the figures apart? Draw them separately, label them separately, so that way it lessens any confusion. Going also along with the labeling that they incorporate in BD here, CE here. So I drew them separately. So then you can more easily see what the setup is supposed to be. 3 is to 8, as x minus 1 is to x plus 2. One more time, cross multiply, and you're going to take the 3x over here, get 5x. Take the 8 to the left, get 14. You do get a decimal when you divide by 5. That's still okay. Decimals are okay, 2.8. Moving on to number 9, once again, you're going to match up all the corresponding sides. The only pair that really matches up here is 42 and 12. That reduces to 7 halves. So instead of using bigger numbers, please try to use those smaller numbers. It's going to make that cross multiplication easier when you have to move into that phase. So 7 over 2, 7 is to 2, as x is to 22. 7 is to 2, as x is to 22. Cross multiply, 2x equals 154. X equals 77. Moving on to y, 7 is to 2. Remember, right, we reduced. 7 is to 2 as 65 is to y. So now the number's on the top instead of the bottom. The variable's on the bottom this time. Cross multiplication will be a little different. 7y equals 130. Y is 18.6. Again, please do not panic about getting decimal answers. And lastly, 7 is to 2 as z is to 18. There's that setup. Cross multiply one more time. 2z is equal to 126, so z is 63. Take some time to rewind the video if you need to for any of these questions. Number 10, similar concept here. 10 is to 6. 10 is to 6, reduces to 5/3. 15 is to 9. 15 over 9 also reduces to 5/3. 21 is to 12. Does not reduce to 5/3, that's 7/4. You do not have similar figures. Number 11, if you fill in the rest of the pictures with missing angles by simply subtracting from 180, that's 135, that's 25, means that has to be 20. If that's 20 and that's 135, that has to be 25. So therefore, yes, you do have similarity by angle, angle. Remember, it's not angle, angle, angle. It's only 2 of these for similar figures. We're not doing proofs, we're doing similar figures. So it's just angle, angle. Number 12, you set up some sketches quickly and just label everything that is supposed to be labeled. That's going to be the easiest thing to do. A, B, C, D, E, F, A, B, C, D, E, F. Make sure you do them in the same order. Label everything that you're supposed to label. So the only matching sides I have, the corresponding sides are 7 and 13. So 7 is to 13 as x is to 16 and y is to 9, but what they're actually asking for is the perimeter. So to get perimeter, you add up all 3 sides. 9, 16, 13. That's where the 38 comes from. So 7 is to 13 as this first perimeter is to the second perimeter. 7 is to 13 here and here. Entire perimeter is x. Entire perimeter is 38. Cross multiply and divide one more time. 13x equals 266. Divide by 13, 20.5. And that would be your first perimeter, 20.5. And the last page. Determining if you have parallel lines, you're simply going to match up some sides here. 24 is to 27. That reduces to 8/9. 16 and 18 reduces to 8/9. Yes, they are parallel. And you can also work the other way. You can do 24 and 16 and 27 and 18. They reduce to the same thing. Still going to show you that you have parallel lines. CD is a mid-segment. Label everything you're supposed to label. So again, you have some corresponding sides here. Match these up, and solve them separately. So 5x plus 7 is equal to 3x plus 21. X is 7. Here you're going to have a factoring problem. Subtract the 8 to the left-hand side. The only way to make an 8 and a 2 is with a 4 and a 2. 4 times 2 is 8. Negative 4 plus 2 is negative 2. Don't forget you have to solve these separately. You get positive 4 and negative 2 respectively. Still allowed to have negative answers. Moving into numbers 15, 16, and 17. With the geometric mean, multiply them, take the square root. Multiply the numbers, take the square root. 4 times 9 is 36, square root is 6. 5 times 10 is 50, but that breaks apart differently into 25 and 2. 25 is a perfect square, that's 5 root 2, which is 7.1. Number 17, if you multiply these together, 4 times 3 is 12. Root 3 times the root 3 is root 9, which is 3. So that's where that simplification comes from. 12 times 3 is, again, 36. Square root of 36 is 6. Numbers 18 and 19 with finding x, y, and z. So x is the square root of 3 times 12. 36, again, it's 6. Seems to be repeating itself here with several of these questions. Y is 12 times the entirety of 15. The part that's attached to it times the entire hypotenuse. 12 times 15 is 180. The square root answer is 6.5, decimal 13.4. For letter Z, that's the part attached to Z, 3 times the entirety of 15. So 3 times 15 is 45. That breaks down to 3 root 5, or 6.7. Number 19, a little twist on this one because you're missing part of the hypotenuse, but you do have a missing side. You have a side. So you can't do x quite yet. I would start with finding z. So 21 is the square root of 15 times z. 21 is the square root of 15 times z. To cancel square root, you square it. So 21 squared becomes 441. Divide by 15 is 29.4. So if that whole thing is 29.4, you subtract 15, 14.4 for y. You don't have really anything else to do for that one, just subtract. So that saves you a little bit of work. Maybe not frustration, but some work. And then to do x, you're going to take whatever the answer for y is, 14.4 times 15, which is 216. Take the square root, 14.7 or 6 root 6. That is the end of the CP Geometry Study Guide.